we're back. This is Elliot and Jose coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on CCW TV, the comic book vlog featuring a comic book writer and a comic book vendor and a comic book conversation that includes you, the audience. As always, we encourage your comments, your feedback, and we ask that you also check out the CCW TV blog. You will find links to the blog here in the information page, or if you're seeing this video on the main page there on the bottom. So check it out. We're now at the part that we call Last Rants, and now in Last Rants we give our long belated review of 2009, although mind you we've been talking about 2009 for a while now.
All year,
pretty much. That tends to happen. 2009 was kind of an interesting year for us here at CCW TV because we found that, first we discovered that, lo and behold, people actually watch this show. Yes, we do have a very strong and committed core of viewers, but as we watch the stats on this channel every week and each month, we notice that people are watching and they're telling their friends. Our subscribers went upwards. We are north of 550 subscribers now, and who knows when we'll hit 600. On top of that,
no, we're actually like at 580 right now.
Yeah. On top of that, we've had people linking to us from other blogs. We were reviewed by another blog, gave us a kind of a pretty unflinching, honest review that I appreciated. I mean, heck, you know, if we're gonna...
Did you ever write that guy?
Yes, I did.
Oh. Did you ever get a response?
No, I did not. Oh. But if we're gonna criticize others, we are open to criticism as well and ready to hear it.
We got criticized on the Burn blog, on the Burn boards. We were up on there. Somebody linked one of our last rants where we were ripping on Marvel for prices and stuff.
Yeah, and you're
about
just...
75% of the people agreed with us, and a couple of them didn't have very nice things to say about us.
What was the thing?
Oh, you have a guy who sells comics and a guy who writes Army of Dark...
Ash Saves Obama. Yeah. No, writes an Obama comic.
Writes an Obama comic.
So, but again, which is all
Inkers
fine.
are curmudgeons. We do know that.
We are. And you know what? Hey, that's fine. That's fine by me. You know what? I do not take issue with anyone who wants to take a shot at us. It just, like I said, when my brother spent all Christmas making fun of my show, making fun of our show, it just showed he watches the show.
What is he making fun of you about?
Oh no, he was making fun of, like I said, he was making fun of the tiny microphone. He was making fun of the fact that all we do is talk about comics. Now mind you, my brother's Mr., you know, ex-military firefighter dude, and so on.
What does he want us to talk about?
I know, that was the whole thing. And he also talked about my Geek to Me segment.
Should we have a segment devoted entirely to what's going on in the Middle East for him?
We could.
SAR,
we need SAR to comment for us because
our Israeli viewer,
our Israeli viewer, who will be going into the Israeli military any day now. You know?
Oh wow!
And also, he was impressed that I talked to, as he said it, real writers.
That does impress me from time to time too.
Actually, talk to funny? Real talents, you know, from time.
I actually listened to the podcast of your
my radio
interview yesterday, and it's funny because you actually came off in the interview as somewhat funny and very very professional, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Because do you have little tics that on the show that you do all the time? You have certain phrases that you use all the time. And it seemed like you were monitoring yourself when you're on that show.
No, when I'm on... Okay, first, when I'm on the radio, when I'm on legitimate media... No, when I'm on the radio, just so you know, and if you want to listen to the podcast of my appearance on the radio a week or so ago, by the time you see this segment, you can see
links on the blog.
On the blog, on the Geek to Me blog.
On the Comic Culture Warrior blog.
And the Comic Culture Warrior blog, too, yes. I had no idea what questions he was going to ask me. All I knew was we were going to talk about a couple things. The main thing being the Star Wars Holiday Special that, because it was around the holidays. I was talking about it on the blog. We were going to talk about that. And then there were other things that we might talk about, but I wasn't sure. So when the host is throwing these questions at me, my brain is trying to process the information quickly and come up, like you said, with real answers. And I'm on top of that, yes, I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to at least be clever somehow. I'm trying to avoid saying and all those tics, that you say that I have. When I watch these videos before posting
I don't know
them,
how you can watch them.
they're difficult. It's really hard sometimes.
It's really hard for me to watch you on these videos.
It's really hard for me to watch because I notice all the things that I do again and again and again, and which I'm surprised no one ever really brings up in the comment boards.
I just think they're used to it by now. They're like, this fucking guy's never going to change.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's what everybody says. So it's running a sprint, and I know I've got two, 12, 13-minute segments to get through, and it's quick, run. And no script, but when you have a radio host asking you things, and you know that, the entire, near the whole city of Chicago and the Midwest is listening, because it's WGN.
No, I wouldn't give yourself that much credit.
No, I'm just saying, but WGN, the signal goes, all over the Midwest. You get a little nervous from it. Yeah. So, no one caught that I kind of flubbed on the host's name at the very end. And I know the guy. I've talked to him countless times, and I had a brain fart at the very end. So yeah. Okay, the truth is I had to stand and do all my radio stuff. No one can tell that it's me.
You're sending your brothers to go do these things.
I'm sending my brothers, exactly. So yeah, this whole thing is kind of taken off quite nicely. It's taken off quite nicely, and it's interesting that we get the attention that we do. I've never really expected it to get to this point. This whole thing kind of started out like we said, it was like a hobby. We wanted to try this out. We thought if we get tired of doing this, we'll just stop. And now, if we stopped doing this, I don't know what would happen. I really don't know. I think we'd make some people angry out there.
Well, some people would probably be really happy, too.
Because there's a thing about us here, and again, I think about us, in 2009, we became kind of like that garage band that everybody in the neighborhood really likes. And, it's kind of cool when you, and I'm sure a lot of our followers feel this way. We're kind of like that well-kept secret that only certain people know about us and certain people get to enjoy us. And because our audience tends to be somewhat small, it's intimate. Mm-hmm. We know pretty well all our regular commenters. I mean, we know you guys. I mean, when we see Demar, Sar, we saw Ben Wonder, Johnny Horror, Variant Girl who came on board. When we see your names up there, it's kind of like you're the folks that we see in the comic shop every week. Mm-hmm. And it's really nice to be able to have that interaction. Something that we could end up having slip away from us if things really take off. Because then it would be really difficult to respond to every comment. Someone had said a few months back about the comic book club guys that they hardly ever respond to comments on their video board. Why? Because it's just difficult when you have that many followers and that many comments on your board.
Well, just to let you guys know, I really don't perceive myself ever having a life, at least in the near future. So I think all your comments and messages will, at least I will be able to send them back to you because I really got nothing going on.
Yeah, oh boy.
What?
Nothing.
This channel's all about self-loathing.
I was going to say, dude, get down off that cross because someone needs the wood for fire. The worst of 2009 are still being voted on the boards. Make sure you look and vote for the winner of the Golden Lobe. And by the time this video posts, you will also see the nominees for the CCW Nation Awards. Make sure you check that out and let us know who you think the best and the worst of 2009 were. For me, the worst of 2009 just simply had to be Marvel Comics' overall publishing practices.
Yeah.
The relentless pushing of the price point. I reviewed our videos for the year, and I kept seeing how many times we went back to that.
You know, it's really funny because Avi was, we were actually going to do this end of the year stuff taping last week, and Avi, my friend who actually joined us for a series of segments halfway through the year, was actually going to come in, but Elliot's car broke down, so we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But he actually started watching some of our newer stuff to catch up to what we were talking about. He's like, "Man, you guys are still fucking complaining about Marvel?" And I'm like, "We do. We do it. It always comes back like every 3 or 4 months. We always got to talk about it because it just gets worse and worse."
It does. And
I mean, and to be honest, we were talking about this like last year.
Yeah, we were. And just so you know, I mean, there are a lot of folks who take exception to that, and they voice that on the boards and on the blog.
Well, you know what? There is like tons of review, vlogs or whatever you want to call them out there who don't ever bring up anything about that.
They never talk about it.
So, you know what? If you don't want to like listen to actually what's going on in the industry and stuff that might have repercussions to the comics that you like, you can go and like live in that bubble and watch other review shows that don't talk about anything about how stuff's going to affect your comics that you like.
And on top of that, it's not like we're trying to say that we don't want comic creators to make a living. I've read, especially when the Wednesday Comics run was going on this past summer, and there were all these complaints about the price point. We had that. Avi was in on that conversation. How much Wednesday Comics was going for, how much the cost of the book per page compared to other books on the stands per page, and you read all these involved formulas and people saying, oh, it's 25 cents, it's 40 cents, it's blah, 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 blah. You can use numbers as something that's in sports. You can use numbers to argue any point of view, any point. But numbers also lie. If you're a sports fanatic, you also know numbers lie. And the reality is, and Rich Johnson had wrote a post about this, talk about the
he's been doing it every week.
Yeah. Talking about the pricing in books. The magic price point for trades, what is it? $9.99.
And we had talked about this before, actually, was that Rich Johnson in his post brought up that something that the manga industry has known for years.
For years. And why does manga sell in the millions still? Mm-hmm. Because they're not looking short-sighted.
It's long term.
They're thinking of the long term. They're not looking at their customer base short-sightedly and trying to figure out, how do I boost the bottom line for the next quarter, the next quarter. No, they think in the long term. I will also admit there is a big cultural difference in Japan and in the Asian countries when it comes to manga.
But it's
different than it is here.
Right, but then you have Chew for $9.99, and then you have that Project Superpowers 2 trade paperback coming out from Dynamite. That's like what, the first 8 issues? Mm-hmm. Like the 8 issues for $9.99.
Because they want to get these books into people's hands. Whereas Marvel Comics knows that they already have the audience. They want to figure out how much they can get from you as they get the books.
Yeah, and not only has, we talked about Marvel raising their prices on the comics. One of the things that we don't really talk about, we have mentioned before, is that the prices on their trades are going up.
Way up.
When you have trades out there like that, there's perfect example. There's a Brian Michael Bendis celebrating 10 years of Brian Michael Bendis trade that came out. This week. $35.
How many issues are reprinted in that?
I don't remember. We actually sold the one copy that we ordered.
Okay.
But the thing was, the last book that was in there was Dark Avengers #9, which came out like 2 months ago. Yeah. So there's 32 pages right there, like taking up for that. But it's like $35 for just all reprinted stuff from Bendis. It's like.